This is such a makeshift setup right now. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As you might be aware if you follow my Instagram, I adopted a dog 4 months ago and he passed away last week. I've been pretty quiet on YouTube and I kind of want to get back into it, but I feel like I need to kind of update you guys first before I get back into the swing of things. So I adopted Rafi 4 months ago. He was put into a black bag as a puppy and dumped to die. They had quite a bad start, so they were so young that they were definitely taken away from their mummy too early, so he definitely didn't get the right amount of milk he was supposed to. So that was the kind of the start of everything, really. It makes sense. I started to notice that something wasn't quite right. He was frequently urinating, and it was non-stop. And at first, which I feel so bad about, he was given out to because we trained him to go outside. He knew where to go outside. He would just go to the door and he'd go outside. But it became to the point where he genuinely couldn't help it. He'd tap me to say he needed to wee, and he'd wee. And he'd sit there and he'd shake like he knew he wasn't supposed to do it. So this is like my second time doing this video because the first one I just cried. I'm going to try not cry. So I eventually brought him to the vet and I said he's constantly weeing, and I was like, I know puppies are weeing now, but this is constant and it's quite cloudy, and he'd get a little bit kind of sore around his willy so she said, okay, we'll take his blood and check just to make sure it's no underlying kidney problems, because I lost a dog at the age of 3. She was 3, to kidney failure, and I was just so anxious. It was that. She took his blood, something came a little high in his liver. Don't quote me, but I think it was the ALT was high. But she said to me, her exact words, "It's nothing to worry about, it's common." So I said, okay. So she put him on antibiotics for a UTI because it was a bit cloudy, his urine, and said, that's pretty common too. So she said, see how it goes on with the antibiotics. So about a week passed, he'd finished his antibiotics, but he was puking throughout that week. And I thought the antibiotics are making him so ill. So a week passed and he was still, came off his antibiotics now and he was still puking. So I brought him back to the vet and I said, he's puking, I presume it's his antibiotics, he's not right. I presume, and she said, right, keep him in, he doesn't look well. Everything was fine, his temperature and everything was fine, but she agreed he did not look right. And this was the same vet as the last time, and she I'm trying to think, it's just so it's awful. So she said I need to keep him for the night, and that was such a big deal to me. I was no, my baby. I cried the whole night, didn't really sleep. And then I collected him the next day. I think he was there for 30 hours, and she said that he was much better now. The antibiotics, she gave him fluids for the night to give him antibiotics, because basically she said his urine was still infected, his bladder, because he had puked up all the antibiotics, so it never cured the UTI. So that was fine. And then about 4 days had passed and I was he's getting worse and worse, and it got to the stage where he was literally holding himself funny because he was in so much pain, and he lost his appetite, wouldn't he? And Rafi would take the hand off you to eat. He was, considering he was put in a bag, he probably had to fight for whatever food was in that bag, because I think they were given food in the bag, I'm not too sure. And he was just getting worse. He used to come to work with me every day, and he wouldn't eat his favourite treats, he wouldn't eat anything. And 1 second. Hello, what's wrong? There's Ellie wearing his collar, aren't you? Show everyone Rafi's collar. Wait, someone just emailed me, sorry. So where was I? Oh, he wasn't eating, brought him to the vet on the 23rd of December. He was dying. I knew. I looked at him, I looked at Dad, and I said, he's not well. He was just looked awful, God love him, like. And they took him into the vet. I got my boyfriend to meet me because I knew it wasn't going to be good. And she came out and she said, it's not good news. And I was like, what? And she was like, he's so bloated and he has like 500 ml of fluids in his stomach and all of his organs are floating. And I just burst out crying. And I was like, is it kidney failing? She's like, I don't think it's his kidneys, but one of his organs are failing. She said, I think it's his liver. I think he has a liver shunt, which is like, in easy terms, Ellie, no, good girl. In easy terms, no, I'm sorry, you're not allowed that. In easy terms, it's like a hole in the liver, and then so your liver makes bile, and like all of the poison, your liver kind of has poison in it as such, and all of the poisons were going into his blood, and he was poisoned, like his blood was poison, and he was just dying. And she said he's not going to he needs to go to see a specialist in Cork, but he's not going to make the journey. So we need to stabilise him for the night and you can bring him up tomorrow. And I said, okay. And obviously that whole night I was just crying, Ellie, I'm sorry, I can't give it to you. I can't give it to you. He was just crying. I was just crying the whole night, and I was like, he has to be able to make this. Ellie, stop. Oh my God. So, Ellie, you can't have your poot on the camera. Fast as fuck, boy. Sorry. So she, so it wasn't good keeping for the night. I cried the whole night, and I was told to collect him at 8:30. Now there's someone here, like every time I film, it just doesn't go to plan. And he survived the night, and I was like, if he can survive the night, I'm gonna have to do this quick now, but if he survived the night, he can make it, was the way I looked at it. And he made the night. He had a little tail wag in the morning. Brought him up to Cork. He was referred from Wexford, got there. They had no clue who he was or why I was there. Although Wexford had emailed them to say I was coming, apparently. I don't know who to believe. Give the dogs a second. Someone just arrived. And he was dying the whole journey, like he was in my arms, dying. He survived 3 hours anyway. Got to the vet, and they were like, I don't know why you've been sent here, because the vet that could fix him isn't back from Christmas holidays until the 28th. And he'll need a scan first so they can locate where the shunt is, and then operation on the 29th then. And I was like, okay, well, what will I do? And they were like, you need to stabilise him here, like he won't survive the journey back, but he can survive up here on fluids and everything, and we'll keep him stable. And I was like, okay. So I went in, I gave him a kiss. She said that, like, she was lovely. She said I can spend however long I want with him. So I cuddled him and I kissed him. I said, I promise I'll be back to collect you. And just spent about 10 minutes with him, giving him cuddles and kisses, not knowing that was going to be my last. And sorry. They said they'd call me constantly. They called me once as I left and told me that my dog is back outside. That it wasn't good, that he had so many kidney stones in his bladder as well, like, and Ellie. Okay, hopefully no more distractions. I'd be rang every day. I wasn't really rang. I rang them, but then in fairness, like, I didn't really give them much answering because I was constantly wanting to hear. And for the first 2 days, they told me he was stable, but he had no change. Like, he was absolutely petrified, they said. And then on the 26th of December, they told me that he had chirped up a little bit. And the vet's exact words were, I'm going to try get the vet to upset his family and go in and scan him tomorrow and then operate on him tomorrow, which would be the 27th. So then that was why they rang me the 27th, and I was like, oh yes, like, great news. It's going to be great news. I'm going to be told that he's going to get his scan today, and they rang me to say they didn't make the night. So my dad collected him that day and brought him back in a little blanket, and we then arranged the following day so he spent the night at home, and in the spare bedroom I just went in and gave him a kiss and everything, like, and we got him cremated, and I'm waiting to get him back now. So basically that's where I've been. I want to like start posting more on YouTube, but I said I'd come on first and explain my situation, and then kind of get back to normal life as best as I can. Hopefully my house should be ready for me soon, and I want to like film the whole process of like moving in, empty house tour, furnished house tour, them kind of things, and then like cleaning videos and stuff like that. Probably not, because I'm probably not even gonna clean my house. But yeah, and Rafi will be coming with me in a little teddy bear, so it's not exactly how I wanted him to see the house. I used to get telling him and Ellie, I bought you a house, didn't I? But that's life, unfortunately. But yeah, thank you for watching. Comment down below what sort of videos you'd like to see, and make sure to check out all my socials that'll be linked below.